April 2nd, 2025. Two urban explorers find the mummified corpse of Dijin Mauri, a 39-year-old American violinist. He had been dead for months without anyone reporting him missing. Since 2020, he had made a small room in this abandoned place his home. He used to go twice a week to a place with public Wi-Fi. Polite and discreet, but he never interacted with anyone. However, he was murdered in cold blood for no clear reason. As I entered the building, I found traces of blood that told the story of a desperate struggle. Every drop is a step in flight, every stain another stab. Dijin Mauri managed to close the door of his tiny room behind him, not knowing it would also become his tomb. He bled out silently, unable to call for help. That same door he thought would save him ended up sealing his fate. The one who pursued him across 2 floors and attacked until his final breath. Today we open the door to seek the truth.
We're already on the former workshop grounds. And as you can see up there, the very top floor was where he lived, because it's the only one that's covered. He covered it himself because I was looking at images on maps, and in 2018 it's completely open, and by 2020 it's already covered.
He began living here in 2020 and even added a window.
He used reeds, bricks, plastic, anything he found to cover the wall as best he could. I don't know the place, so you can't see it exactly. Well, but it must be around here. Then we'll take a look around everywhere else to see if we find anything. He would have come up through here. There's so much toilet paper here. It must have been Dijin Mauri's, if I recall. He was 39. Masks are quite recent. Here's more toilet paper. Wow, well, here you can already see the blood. Let's see, my pulse is even speeding up. Well, it looks like the attack started in this part of the filling. It's not really clear why. Well, actually, absolutely nothing is known. They would be here, and for some strange reason, the attack would start here. He received several stab wounds to the abdomen, and one of them hit the femoral artery, which was the one that caused his death by bleeding out. The amount of blood that was already here was very large. I'm saying it because of the outline that it has. Imagine poor Mauri completely terrified and bleeding, trying to escape from the attacker. We don't know if he stabbed him all right here or if he followed him up the stairs. It's strange since he didn't rob him. The motive wasn't robbery. I'm not sure it was an argument, but even then, you couldn't stab someone that many times. And here, there's already a lot of blood. A lot. I stay quiet, but it's just that I'm left speechless. Could he be where this just happened? It's better here because we can see the rest of the workshop. If I remember right, the workshop was abandoned since the 80s. There's more blood here. It's right here. Most likely, I would put it... Mauri. Put up posters. Posters? Like to scare off those who would come. It was clear. BBR. Very strange. Wow, that's crazy. What a mess. There's blood everywhere. I don't know if he kept stabbing him here or something, because there's a lot of blood here. I think this is where he delivered the fatal stab. In the femoral artery, which caused him to bleed to death. He ran away, he managed to get out. Here. To the left, and if I'm not mistaken, is his house where he lived. There he took shelter and locked the door.
It's a sticker, it seems.
I don't know if it was from forensics or something. It's really strange that we haven't found any tape from the civil guard or the police. Because this is a crime scene.
The crime happened.
The body was found a month ago, but the crime occurred 2 months before that.
Alright, this is his door.
Any trouble makes me uneasy about going outside.
You put do not disturb 2025. This is the door I would have. Wow, it's open.
Cool, what's that smell?
Wow, I don't know if I'll be able to go in. I don't know. I need to stop for a moment. Look, I'm outside, but the smell is coming out.
The smell is coming out. I'd have water here.
Sounds in a jug, not sure why. Alright, let's see if we can get inside.
Wow.
Wow. But it smells strong. Wow, look at this. There are already more stickers around there.
But I'm not going to move much and I'm not going to touch absolutely anything.
Because there's no police tape, but it's clear that those stickers are from the police. Everything here is packed with batteries. For his things. A stick apparently for self-defense. But look, the stick is marked with this. He bled out here. Here's the blood. He bled out lying there. There's all the blood, the whole blood stain. He had some photographs hanging here of people he knew. Look at the drawings he used to make. And this is the wall we've seen from the other side. That was covered up. He hid this too. He has food over there. Toilet paper. He brought the plastic here to toast it. And some air comes in, as you can see, but the smell has stuck around. Look at all the water it had. He wrote some things, but like I said, I won't touch or move anything. And see, there are bloodstains too. My heart is overwhelmed. Look. Oh, Jazz, there's the butane cylinder. Should I cook here? Would this be your cooking area? He had onions that have gone bad and are starting to grow. He had everything to cook here. All the food in there. The spices. Look, the Mauri. Let's see if I'll read it. Let's see if you can read the Mauri and Freightin Grinch better. There it was. Wow, I don't believe you. I've seen videos of him playing the violin and he used this on the street to make his music. In fact, the civil guard found the computer and the violin here, and they took the computer. I don't know if they took the violin. I don't see it at first glance, although it could be around here. That looks like the case, but I'm not going to touch anything. And they found the computer here, so robbery apparently wasn't the motive. But who would do something so brutal? To seriously injure someone for no reason? Wow, and look at the oil reserves he had.
Oh no, it's vinegar.
He made some kind of improvised piece of furniture. Look here, he had a knife. Of course, he was English and he came here because he said this was much safer. Europe overall was much safer than the United States, and even the worst area in Europe was safer than anywhere in the United States. And considering that he was a street artist, well, the street in the United States was dangerous. But look, this is what happened to him here. What bad luck he's had. He used that as a clothesline. Did he wash clothes here? What a shape. I'd like to see the drawings he has there. Turn them over. But no. Another improvised clothesline. Poor thing. Oh, there's blood. I hadn't noticed it marked on the floor. But it's all there. It must be heartbreaking to be attacked like that and to have to lock yourself in here so they'll stop attacking you and end up lying here not knowing what to do. You wait for death, you wait for the attacker to leave while you're bleeding out. He couldn't call anyone because he had no Wi-Fi or data and couldn't communicate. And the body was here for at least 2 months. At least 2 months the body was here. Look, there he had the nightstand with a bunch of things. There's a key up there. It could be the key to the door that was here. The civil guard removed it. They tore the door off to get through. And look, there's blood here too, right there. It could be that the door was locked and they started to open it. Now we'll take a look at the door to see. And look, he ended up lying here. He grabbed the stick because it was nearby. He could have locked himself in and grabbed the stick to try to defend himself. Look at that bottle over there. I don't know, but it could be peace. There with his shelf, he had everything pretty well set up. Now we see this as messy, but surely the civil guard, well, obviously would have searched around here looking for things. They took the computer, among other things, to see who he had been talking to lately, to find out if there was any clue about the crime. Because they have nothing, and probably if there's nothing on the computer, they won't find the killer. Look at this.
64 gigabyte secure digital cards music. Miss television, this is what was inside.
But the code isn't here. The civil guard probably took it. Let's put it away again. I just realized something. It's about all these little legs that are around here, especially all around. Where the corpse would be, which would be here. Look how many there are. And these are the worms that appear when the body starts to decompose and the larvae begin to come out. Here you can see that he had something like a box where he would keep his things. There's a notebook there with things written in it. I'm not going through there because I'd have to step on this. Stepping on this isn't pleasant, but it's already there. No. There's crazy hair. Look, that's hair over there. And look at this sculpture he made here. It looks like it could be an oven. I don't know. Because it doesn't have an entrance here. It had the boots. Look, there's money here. Inside that crack, I don't know if you can see it on camera, there's a euro and some change. Did you see that little jacket covered in blood? It might be the one she wore, since there's blood even inside. Look, this is the door that was put up, but there are no blood stains here, so the door was probably open. If it's open, someone probably bothered him and he tried to kick them out. And when it was already visible, the attack happened. We don't know if it was or why it was, but he's a murderer. We don't know if he has killed more people. He took advantage. Seeing someone here so defenseless, maybe he had already set his sights on him. He already knew about him, had seen him walk here several times, and eventually decided to come himself. Just to kill him because he had no apparent reason. He was someone who didn't interact with anyone, an educated, calm person. What happened to him is completely incomprehensible. I'm gonna go up to this part here. Let's see what's there. Why is there dirt here? Did he do his business here? He threw the paper away? Where did we see that? Because we haven't seen any feces to live here. Maybe this was a handmade sandbox for that. To do their business? there are stones here. I'm not really sure what they're for. I saw this while going downstairs. He had a safe here. I'm going to leave it just as it was. He has chocolate bars and food here. You can see pencils there. Pens, this backpack, which he probably used here to put his laptop in. I was going down the stairs and I noticed something. It's these splatters here. And look, you can tell they're moving quickly that way, and this is where there's a large amount of blood. I don't know if the attack itself happened here, but most likely one of the last attacks, or the most violent one, did happen here. And the attacker would have to be at this height for the splatters to reach this part here. And this is where we see the largest amount of blood. And it would fit a lot with the attack to the thigh, with the stab to the thigh, because to stab the thigh, that person has to be above. If I were here and someone else was here, their legs would be at this height. So stabbing the thigh from here would be more than feasible. Now I'm going to tell you my theory, which I have no idea about, but this is my theory. There's the stick, so I'm not sure if they took it before or after, but I think they took it before. He was at home relaxing when he must have heard something. He went down the stairs, we got to the second floor, and this is where we found the first bloodstains. Mauri likely carried the stick for self-defense, having seen it as a threat and tried to protect himself. And that's why it makes a lot of sense that all the stab wounds were to the abdomen and the fatal one was to the leg, because he would defend himself from here. Someone standing a few steps below will always appear shorter, reaching only our abdomen or legs. He defended himself here as best he could. He stabbed him the first time here. He got scared. He kept climbing the stairs as best he could, likely looking back the entire time. His attacker kept chasing him, and he knew he was badly wounded. There must have been another stabbing here. He was probably trying to defend himself with the stick, and the attacker was trying to stab him. Here already. Probably a victim of fear. He came all the way to this part here. And look at this. There's more blood here that I hadn't seen before. Even another sticker. Look, the blood splatters are fast again, and there's a lot. Another attack happened here. Here, when he touched her, she probably saw running as her only escape. There's still blood. Look here, the attacker kept chasing her. It's a footprint from a sneaker going up. I mean, it's not going down, it's going up. There was already blood. Maurice, the attacker, stepped in it while still chasing her. Here's the footprint again. Here's another one. And here was the one. The fatal attack likely delivered the final blow that caused Maurice's death. He would try to defend himself for his life, fighting to survive. And from here, the attacker below, him with the stick trying to defend himself, and he would get the fatal blow to the leg. Seeing so much blood, I imagine the attacker would already see. He would already be scared, gone, or have what he wanted. I want Dijin Mauri to say he fell to the ground here, because there's a very large pool of blood here. And as best he could, crawling, because look at these marks, they look like crawling marks, you see? Crawling, is there more here? And that's how Fumo did it. Crawling, he got in however he could. Into his house. There may be blood traces here, but they're not easily seen since they're exposed. It's been a while, but you can still see the blood traces here. He came in, closed the door, and probably collapsed from all the blood he had lost. Well, that's my theory, based on what I've seen here, on what I can imagine, although I don't really know much, but that's the theory I have. As you can see, there are still footprints. The more you look, the more you find. Look. He was standing here. See? There's a footprint there. And here's another one. He was standing completely still with his feet like this. Here. There, right there. Dijin Mauri would be there when he made the final step to the femoral artery. And he ended up bleeding out. I was going down to the third floor where we saw this blood here, and I saw something quite relevant. When he reached this floor, he likely came through here. He was fleeing here. Look at all the blood here, it goes around. Just imagine, if I were the attacker, he would be walking backwards, trying to get away from me while I keep chasing him. They were chasing him here. Why would he do that? Does he have this blood mark? He was probably fleeing his attacker. Look at the blood, and there's a lot of it. He must have been brutally afraid for his life. More blood. They're all drops of blood from here. I would corner him there. And somehow Mauri managed to escape and go up the stairs, but he followed him, there are his footprints, he kept following him, another footprint, until he cornered him here. Oh, this is where the killer stood. With Mauri already badly wounded, he delivered the final stab to his leg. We're checking out what's left of the workshop, just walking around to see if anything stands out. We've also gone up to the other tower. Look at where his house was, right over there, that whole area. And we haven't found any other sign of life in the workshop. So he just lived in that tower on that square. It would be the same, well, much smaller than this one. It would be half the size of this one, although you've already seen it. I think it's a very well-known place. A lot of people come here. But I'd be used to people coming here to take photos and so on, or just to take a walk. Because it's very much in plain sight. We're already leaving, and I'm left with a bad taste in my mouth and feeling awful. It's really hit me hard. The killer is still on the loose. They haven't found him. The investigation is still open. Since so much time has passed, it's hard for them to find clues. I'm not sure if there's anything on the computer. Most likely he's still on the loose, and if he's not, it's because he killed other people and they caught him for another crime, not this one. But he's probably still on the loose and is simply a killer. He didn't want anything at all. He probably saw Mauri walking around here some morning or afternoon when he was coming back. And he just saw him. An easy victim. A victim he could attack and kill without any hesitation and without fear that anyone would see him. And it's going to be difficult, but I hope they finally end up catching him and locking him up where he belongs so he can't hurt anyone else again. I'm going to end the video here. I don't even know how to end it. So I'll come up with something to end it.
Thank you.